TV's Carly Dion talked to a law professor earlier today about all the twists and turns this final day of the trial took and what comes next.
Friday morning, Judge David Young declared the first mistrial as the jurors worked to reach a verdict on the charges faced by former Franklin County Deputy Jason Meade.
So the judge basically says, let's call this one to a halt and we're going to have to retry the entire case.
Minutes later, Judge Young retracted the mistrial, commending the jurors for their hard work on the case and told them to keep deliberating. 2 hours later, jurors then came back, saying they couldn't agree, at which point the judge invoked the Howard charge, asking them to keep trying to come to a unanimous decision. But 15 minutes later, the final mistrial was declared due to a hung jury. Ohio State law professor Rick Simmons says in some cases it's possible for a jury to reach a verdict on one charge but not another. But this case is different.
The jury said they reached a verdict on one of the charges of murder, but not another one because they said that one of them was justified and the other one was not. That's impossible legally to happen.
Jurors were forced to restart deliberations from the beginning multiple times this week after 4 jurors left, being replaced by alternates.
It's unusual for this to happen once and unprecedented for it to happen 4 times.
Simmons says this is because a juror has to be sick or have done something that disqualifies them or have extraordinary circumstances to be excused. Ultimately, the jury could not come to an agreement. Some of the jurors emotional as the judge declared a final mistrial. Now, a retrial would start over with an entirely new group of jurors. Simmons explains this is a case where a jury is necessary because it comes down to a question of fact.
Juries have to decide whether or not this victim had a gun in his hand, whether he was pointing at the police officer, questions of credibility of all the witnesses who testified.
He says oftentimes attorneys for the state and defense will try to contact the jurors after a mistrial to help in figuring out what to do differently to prevent another mistrial from occurring.
It's a tough job to do. It's a tough decision to make, but hopefully the next jury can do that.
Carly Dion, 10 TV News.